We ready to roll here? All right. We're gonna start this special select board meeting on Friday, November 10th at 5:35 p.m. The purpose of this emergency meeting is for a couple of reasons. One, we need to make sure that we waste no time in getting the plowing bids for the town office and the dry hydrants. The invitation, the conditions of it approved and posted for bid, and then as everyone who attended the last select board meeting knows, we will be appointing Sue Runes as our transitional clerk to take over for Sherry Sullivan, and she has fallen ill this week, so she may not be able to be potentially be able to be present, so we're going to do her appointment tonight and then swear her in next week. The other, there's one other item.
Office hours for next week?
Oh yes, we also, because of this transition and the fact that one of our board members tested positive for COVID, and basically just all the things we need to do in the course of getting things transitioned. We're going to be closing the town office next week, so we want to make that announcement. Okay, with that said, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay, new business for the night, this appointment. The only caveat to this appointment right now is we need to iron out a couple of more details as far as passing off the tax collection responsibilities. So I make a motion to appoint Sue Runes as the interim town clerk, treasurer, and registrar of voters, effective November 15th, 2023.
Seconded.
All in favor? Thank you, Sue Runes.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
I want to write
Yep.
this down.
Mhm.
So Joel made a motion to appoint Sue Runes as interim town clerk, treasurer, registrar of voters.
Yep.
To be effective as of 11/15/23.
That is correct.
Seconded. And carried. Jesse. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Should we read the invitation to bid?
Sure,
Yeah,
might as well.
Okay.
Right?
all right. This is the invitation to bid for the plowing and sanding of the parking lots. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I have a question. You
Yes.
didn't mention tax collector in
That,
that motion.
uh,
Was that intentional?
that is correct. It was. We have just a couple more details to iron out with that before we make that nomination. Yeah, thank you.
I guess I have a quick
Yes,
question, if you don't mind.
yes.
Are those, is that something we're taking care of this evening?
I don't think we'll be able to take care of that this evening, but I will relay all of the information I have, and we can compare notes and see where we're at.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to Sue's appointment really quick. I have
Yes.
some paperwork here for the different appointments.
Okay,
The certificate of appointment would have to be handled from the Board of Selectmen. And this would be the piece of information that I would hand off to, Cecile and Matthew for the banks. They can take this, the only problem is that the oath piece is down at the bottom where Susan would sign. So I'm not sure how you guys would like to proceed with that. They just need some type of documentation making it official, unless I just send them the video recording.
yeah,
If you have your signatures on it. and-
That at least authorizes and makes the appointment.
Right,
Right.
and then if the appointment's been made, does she have to sign it in somebody's presence?
Has to be under a
She
notary.
has to do an oath, right? And
It would be in front of a notary.
we won't have that till mid next week probably at this point, I would guess.
But if that was sent, that would at least initiate the process to say it's been authorized and say that you'll have the oath and stuff by such and such a date, which would not delay it if you have to wait till next week to begin the process.
I could be wrong, but I would think that the bank with the signatures of the selectmen on the appointment would.
Would work, and then they would tell you what they need.
Right.
They need the certificate, et cetera, then you can just start dotting your Ts and crossing your Is.
So if you wanna hand that to me, sign.
So just to be clear, this one is for town clerk, this is for treasurer. This is for registrar of voters.
Okay.
They're all dated to be effective on November 15th, and it says interim in front of each one, and there's no ending date for the term. I don't know if you wanted me to include that or not.
Gotcha.
So,
Well,
That'll work for what, that's a starting date, and then you can make another effect for an ending date, I think. I'll make that determination.
my thinking, Mr. Selectman, would be that we don't know at this time when that end date's gonna be.
Right.
you can always renew.
And it is interim, so, yeah.
Until we find a permanent position holder.
Yeah. Vacancy in the position of town clerk, the select board of the municipality of Sumner does in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the state of Maine. Hereby appoint you as the interim town clerk for the municipality of Sumner. Such appointment to be effective November 15th, 2023. Mary Ann, as the veteran selectman, what are your thoughts?
I think you're within your bounds of taking care of the law, and you're saying the effective date, and you as a board have the right to say when it'll end. It doesn't say interim has an end date.
Right.
I think you're within your bounds to initiate the process, I think that's what you're really wanting to do. You said initially at the last meeting, you hoped it would be a month, but you didn't really say an end date. And those, I don't think you meant, I don't know, the minutes would reflect whether it specified an end date.
It did not.
Do you have a form, the certificate form,
For,
does somebody else apply it?
what do you mean certificate form?
The certificate of appointment, isn't there, or is this, that serves as
That's
that?
the certificate of appointment, and then as part of the stack of paperwork that I have for Susan, there's the oath that she'll take, which is separate from that, the board doesn't do that, she has to do that in front of a notary, in addition to that bottom piece. I don't know if it's required, but that's how I did it. Okay.
Okay. Back to the bid. For the plowing and sanding of the parking lots at Bisbee Dyer Municipal Center, which is the town office and fire station. The shoveling of the walkways, back deck, including the walkway and steps leading to the back deck. Plowing the helicopter pad, clearing a path leading to both sides of the front signage, pathway to the mailbox, access to the clothing donation bin, and the plowing and shoveling required to access all town dry hydrants. Bidders are asked to submit bids with the following. 3-year bids, November 28th, 2023 through June 2026. Per season and plowing sanding. Per season for plowing and sanding, sorry. Only sanding during an ice storm. Moving snowbanks at the request of select board members. Please send, preferably in a sealed envelope marked bid, your bid, proof of $1 million contractor liability insurance, predetermination of independent contractor. To the town of Sumner, 633 Main Street, Sumner, Maine, 04292. Bids must be received by November 27th, 2023. The bids will be opened at the select board meeting on November 28th, 2023. The town of Sumner reserves the right to accept or reject any and all bids and intends to award to the lowest responsible bidder. For the location of the dry hydrants and a copy of the proposed contract, contact the Sumner Town Office. All right. As far as the town office announcements, we are scheduling normal hours to resume on the 21st of November.
Question?
Yes.
Do you have could designate where you're gonna be posting that, the invitation to bid? So that people, so that that they'll know.
Yeah.
And if there's actually a list of, haven't we sent out a list of bid, people that we think would be likely to make a bid in the past on some things?
Found a sheet of paper with a list of names. Are we allowed to single out people like that though?
Well, if we have local contractors, anybody to initiate, how else would we communicate broadly?
Yeah.
Town email list.
Yeah.
Website.
Yeah.
Post office, on a signboard.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And we can link that to the
Community pages, Facebook.
Sumner Canton
That'd be the most
community
effective
Facebook
thing.
page.
Yeah.
Yep.
Towns.
Cool.
tonight or tomorrow?
tonight.
Okay, is there any other business we need to discuss tonight while we're in session?
Yeah, I just am wondering what we're doing about, so Tuesday next week, are we open or closed?
So, we're,
Huh?
the town office is gonna be closed. We're still gonna,
Every single day?
every single day
Okay.
next week.
Okay,
But we are still planning on having the scheduled select board meeting Tuesday evening.
okay. At 6 PM is regularly scheduled.
At 6 PM is regularly scheduled.
Okay, and, so we aren't doing transactions that day, or am I to be here with Lori? Are there there are things that,
So I think that, according to what got arranged, Susan Strout is still planning on doing handover stuff,
I didn't know anything about that.
on Monday.
Bill said something about you two had an appointment and he was gonna.
Just to go over the website.
Gotcha.
I don't know what I'm supposed to hand over to Susan Strout.
Well, I don't know if there was anything,
He just, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. He had said because he was sick, that you guys all had a meeting scheduled for 9 AM on Monday and asked if I would come for it, but I didn't get any particulars as to what it was for.
So at 9, the way that we left the conversation off, on Friday was at 9:30, Susan Strout might be able to attend. Her daughter is out of state and she has some personal things going on, so she's not 100% sure. I haven't heard otherwise, but the only thing that we were going to be discussing was, how to log into the website.
gotcha.
Okay.
So, I'm okay with us trying to be fluid about that next week and work out between you and Susan, how you guys wanna, do that piece and what day you guys might wanna get together to.
Before the end of the day
Do
on the
that.
14th.
So what am I guess I'm confused here a little bit.
So I'm hearing you say that the tax collector piece still has to be resolved, so that would be something.
Before, yeah, the goal is to have that, sorted out and solidified, obviously, before Tuesday evening. Hopefully,
So I guess
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you need from me at this point to do that. I have a lot of,
okay,
let me just back up
Okay.
here.
okay.
So I have a handful of pieces here. One of them is the BMV agent piece. I have to, in order for us to appoint someone else as the agent, we have to know, I have to specify who the tax collector is and who the agent is so that we can transition those pieces.
Both of those together.
Not necessarily. You can do agent, but then you can do tax collector separately, or you could do agent and tax collector together. But if I do that, we would have to look at, I guess I'm not quite sure what we would do. We would have to deputize somebody if I'm going to remain tax collector. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure
Yep,
what you would like me to do here.
I mean, one of the stated purposes of the meeting and email was for us to figure out what our unsolved pieces are, so we can both reach out about that this evening and try to come up with the best course of action there. Because I don't fully understand that piece, I'm personally not comfortable with making a decision on that right this moment.
So these are pieces of paperwork that don't require select board action? Question, it's a question. If there's a process that she needs to do in order to
That's what I'm looking
confer,
for.
and you have a meeting on the evening of the 14th,
That is correct.
so if you have all of your pieces kind of laid out as to what's gonna happen when, and like those two pieces you're talking about, Sherry, have the decision made about how they're gonna go, and if it requires action by the board, they could do that Tuesday night. But if all it requires is, I mean, it's gonna require somebody being officially nominated or appointed for
Right.
tax collector, but the BMB thing, I'm not sure whether that requires select board action or not.
It doesn't the only piece that I believe, my understanding from Wendy was that in order for anybody to be transitioned, especially for this one, they have to have the paperwork stating who the tax collector is. So where they accepted my resignation for the tax collector to be effective on the 14th,
The end of the business day.
end of the business day on the 14th, I have to figure out how to provide that documentation to them before, their office is closed at, I think, 4:30.
Well, so you have all the transactions for BMB that you would be doing would be go through the 14th. The meeting meets the evening, and you have effective when office hours start, which won't be on the 15th.
But it won't, nobody will be here.
Right, so there'd be no business transacted until the 21st. So everything that anybody wants in terms of transactions would wait until the 21st, unless there's stuff online that comes in. Does stuff come online that you know about?
Not anything for record, not anything
BMB.
B&B that I'd have to fulfill.
Right, so there's that. So you have a window
Right.
of completing your paperwork, because you'll know who it's gonna be by the end of the day on the 14th, and you'll do the appointment on that 14th, and then whatever information you have to communicate to BMB, you'll do that with that appointment.
But it wouldn't be me the next day.
No, it will be somebody else. So you know it's gonna be, who it's gonna be, you think, right? But the effective date is based on some of the things you have to work out around the tax collector piece.
Right.
So you'll have that window of the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, before the 21st,
Right.
to have that sorted out.
So the remainder of that week.
You're just sitting with
Essentially.
no transactions, because they're not
Right.
gonna be open.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can get all your paperwork, and as
Yeah.
long as you know what has to happen before the end of the day on the 14th.
Right.
Right, and I don't, yeah.
But
I'm
you
not sure.
haven't worked that out between now and,
Am
if
I,
you're available on the 14th, you're gonna be here on the 14th?
In the
Because it's the
evening,
last
you're
day.
gonna be here.
in
for
the
meeting,
evening?
For the evening,
Right.
yeah, you're
Not
not gonna be
during the
here
day.
during the day, because
The office,
office is gonna be closed.
Right.
the office is gonna be closed, but are there other transitional
Yeah,
things that
there are,
have to
that's
happen
the
on the
piece that I'm
14th?
trying to, I guess, say, is that there are pieces that we have to conclude in order
Right.
Transit
to transition.
from
Right.
one to the other.
And I'm not sure what you guys need from me as far as, you've accepted the resignation, sorry. So do you need
So,
certificate of settlement?
So-
What paperwork do I have to generate for preparation of?
so that would be something for the 14th. On the evening of the 14th would be the certificate of settlement. And
So is Susan Strout gonna be available, or is Susan Loomis gonna be available the 14th? You don't know yet.
so, yeah, we don't know yet. I would think that Susan Strout would be, providing she's still feeling great. The item I was trying to get collected today, but I got a phone call at 3:30, so. Is the municipal tax assessment warrants for 2021 and 2022.
Say that again?
It's called the municipal tax assessment warrant.
So the warrant that was signed by us as a select board,
Like the certificate of,
like the tax commitment assessment, whatever we got back from O'Donnell's last year,
right,
like that you guys did with the tax commitments just this past week. What we did a year ago and a year ago for the last 2 years.
I see, okay.
So that should be somewhere in the files.
Yeah, I have those. I've got them in a binder with the one that we just signed.
Yeah. So they're mentioned in minutes in September and October of 21 and 22. So they
Right.
should be there in whatever record Sherry keeps.
So, the municipal tax assessment warrant, signed
The ones that we signed. Is that
Correct.
by board. Okay,
It would seem like when you took over as tax collector, as these things, there was a process of monetary, end of record, end of balance, and beginning balance kind
I
of
didn't
stuff.
have, we didn't sign that paperwork.
But there was a, kind of like a closing audit for when you closed the books.
But there wasn't, when we did the appointments and Susan officially resigned, we didn't do any like certificate of settlement.
No,
or-
right, but.
But
I
and
guess
then
I'm
you
just
guys,
saying
in the
that
commitment,
ending and beginning stuff.
in the certificate, like what we had spoken about before, where you recommit to somebody else, we didn't do that piece either. So we didn't, Susan left, but we never recommitted the tax to me.
But you were officially appointed as a tax collector. Right? You were appointed as town clerk, treasurer.
But I think that legally, in order to, right here, Maine Municipal Association describes the mechanics of completing a certificate of settlement. When somebody resigns, and then you have to recommit those taxes to somebody else. So we never did that piece of the paperwork. I don't know if the board,
Those never got recommitted to you when
No.
you signed on board?
no,
We know we're gonna do it this time because we're gonna do it. So what I'm hearing is that that's the piece you are still trying to figure out when it'll happen and how it will happen.
Right, just wanna make sure we cross our Ts and dot our
I have that
Is
paperwork ready.
with the statutory requirements of making sure that everything's buttoned up on one tax collector's side before transferring it over.
How can we
to the next one.
transition? If the process wasn't handled correctly the first time when I took over as tax collector, how do we transition into that piece to move forward?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I guess that's what
It's
we
an
pay
MMA,
people
Could be an
for.
MMA.
Because
Yeah,
just as
Yeah.
part of
But
like
you have
making
been
sure,
doing the work of tax collector, right? I mean, for the last, since 21, 22, and now 23.
yes, but technically and legally speaking, the only way to legally discharge somebody from personal liability would have been to complete the certificate of settlement and then recommit the taxes to somebody else. It's not just, which is I think what you're getting at, right? Like you can accept my resignation, but legally to relieve me of my duties as the tax collector, we have to reach a settlement and then recommit to somebody else if you choose to do that.
correct.
So that piece we skipped over. I mean, you can appoint me as the tax collector, but this section and this came from Maine Municipal Association, it describes the following as, delivering amount of money and basically so this paper came straight from Trio. Because what happens is Paul or John every year will go in and that municipal tax assessment warrant that you're speaking of for sorry, I didn't write the years down, 2020 and 2021.
21 and 22.
Okay, is that for both years or the fiscal year?
For, it would be yeah, for both years.
So it would be 2020 to 2021 and then 2021 to 2022. Okay, so those two pieces, when I went back in and generated these certificates of settlement, it came directly from the TRIO program. You can print them right from there, so all of the information that is on the municipal tax assessment warrants, this comes right from that. Because when they sign and when you signed your tax paperwork, the commitment, it's all the same information, you just print it right from there. But I went back all the way to 2020, even though that was not the time that I started, and I don't think I committed taxes that year, it would have been too early for me.
Right, if you were appointed, it was only a probationary, so Susan was
Right.
technically responsible.
But there was still a balance due, so I went all the way back. But I'm not sure as if I had to.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question either, but I can certainly send that off as well.
So this is stuff you've generated that we understand through MMA as part of the process.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, that's what I have here.
And those figures reflect, I've never seen one.
So this is the one from 2020, so this is what is listed on the municipal tax assessment warrant, and it goes down through the line here. And then at the very end, it shows the amount for each tax period. Right here, you know, for each year, and that one's a lot, because we just submitted those taxes. And from there, this paper is supposed to be signed to recommit somebody else. And this is the stuff that we didn't do when I started.
So.
I didn't even know this stuff existed. No, I don't.
So, I guess my question logistically is, are you saying that all the stuff that for the last 3 years should all be lumped together? Or that we're just dealing with this current year's tax commitment?
I don't know, because when Bill, Susan and I had a conversation on Friday, Bill said that,
This is Bill Savage.
yeah, sorry. Bill and Susan both said, because I was saying, why would I sign as tax collector for 2023? Because I'm not staying here. And she said, oh, it's just a matter of, she said, I'm not staying here for an extended period of time. Go ahead and make sure that we get the commitment done. And push it through. Because she said it might just be easier to then recommit the taxes to somebody else later on. And I said, well, how can we do that? Because I'm not gonna be in the office. And if I'm not in the office, then
You can't be responsible for taxes.
you can't collect taxes, but also you can't do motor vehicle transactions or anything with boat excise tax because you have to be, the person would have to be a deputy. So I would fall as tax collector, but then Sue would be deputy and so would Lori. So she said, oh yeah, it was at that point that it was like, well, that doesn't make sense.
So it sounds like you've got a question for MMA as to, because this is seems like a unique situation in which we're moving from current tax collector to an interim. And potentially, we don't know how long that interim will run, but we hope not. And then so this is like appointment from current to interim to somebody else. And so whatever has to happen with each of those transitions would have to be.
But after the 14th, I mean, even if even if it goes from me to Susan, that's how it should go, because I'm not gonna be here.
Right.
And then I feel
So
like
then it
it would go
wouldn't be
from
your-
interim right to the new person, and it will be handled the same process, how it should have been from the get-go.
Well, the stated mutual goal is to have everything squared away for the 14th.
To have that tax,
Yeah.
the current tax collector be whatever the closeout stuff that has to occur is cleared up as to what it needs to be by the end of the day on the 14th, so that turns over to the interim and is committed, so that person is appointed and takes over whatever's in the bucket.
Right.
And that's that person.
So so if I'm not handling transactions on Tuesday, then this is the information. This is the certificate of settlements and the bond paperwork. So this is the whole, these were the only pieces that were requested as part of closing that process out.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
for me,
Is this a copy?
This,
Or-
remember, this is that, I don't need this, this is the whole packet.
Okay,
Because it was a request that stated to provide basically just the proof, so I physically brought it, so you didn't have to go in and look on the website. Showing that that's there, and then the second piece was how to legally close out my duties as tax collector.
cool.
would you like, have you had the time of transition, this is just an informational question, of all the books and being able to get into the website and have a day of transition from one person to another, about how you run your spreadsheets and
So
stuff like
Susan
that?
requested that I do my best to just generate like a manual and procedures book, which I had started working on that a long time ago. So I have probably a stack of papers like this and I'm adding to it to give to Susan on how to do that. When we met on Friday, I asked her if she wanted to meet before. And I asked her about Monday, but she wasn't available. And Susan Strout then said, well, I'm gonna try to help with the website. And that's when we got the plan to just work on the website. But we haven't had a chance to sit down and really dive into anything aside from that Friday. But we just went back and forth with conversation about brainstorming. What would be the easiest thing? And we both were okay with the fact that I would be just available to her, because she said once she gets going with this, then she'll probably have questions.
And then did you do it by phone or by?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I'd even come in to help her.
So it
So,
still seems like the tax collector piece is the one that you kind of need to sort out. And MMA will be open Monday, and it would just seem to me, the fact that we're doing this, that there's a way to structure either a written statement or something that would say, we are officially doing this, concluding this, and starting with this.
that's what this paper is.
Yeah, and then everybody agrees that that's what it is, and the end result is X.
Yep.
And then by the end of the day on the 14th, you've got that in writing, everybody signed it, and you're ready to move
Yeah,
forward.
I can fax that off tonight, I might even get an answer back this evening.
To Susan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to
And
fax
then
this
the
whole
DMV
thing
would
here.
be-
Oh, no, but if I can borrow it for
DMV
the
would be
evening,
other
I'll.
piece.
I can-
find out.
It might be cleaner and easier to read if I just do a PDF copy of these,
Yeah, beautiful.
and then you can just forward it to her.
Yep.
Do you still want the municipal tax assessment warrant? Because like I said, that information is this. This would not generate if this information wasn't logged into the
Right.
computer.
I'll certainly find out. I would think that's all we need.
Okay.
I'd say that would serve as
Yeah.
what we understand, this is what will serve as that information.
So I guess I have a question, one last question about because what happens if you don't settle, we don't settle on that, and my resignation date is the 14th? Or you've already accepted it?
The,
Because then technically, if I'm still a tax collector, I'm still going to be agent for motor vehicle at that point, so why would we close the office for transactions?
I guess I'm hearing that you both wanna be confident that that will all be taken care of by Tuesday.
Yeah,
yes.
I just have
Yeah.
these pieces and I don't know what direction to head with them. Am I staying and we're not sure what to do about this, or am I staying here working, or are we?
I think that the goal, the hope is that we verify the numbers and everything is, everything's good, all statutory obligations are met, and we get the green light for Tuesday night.
So if you're available and you're available to work any other details out on Tuesday, or
Yeah, that's my only concern, is that because it's the night of the 14th,
do you wanna shift it to Monday?
I don't know
There's everything.
how much response we'll get on Monday where it's a holiday.
Oh,
Monday's a
Monday is the
holiday?
holiday? Oh, that's right.
no,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow's a holiday.
But are they,
It's
is the state
observed
honoring
today.
it? It's being observed today, so.
Oh,
we're gonna
maybe.
be-
Yeah,
Maybe everything
It's
will be open
observed
Monday.
today because none of the state offices were open.
Okay.
So then it would seem like Monday would give you another 24 hours to,
Well, that's what I'm just
That's
thinking,
fine.
that if we have something that pops up, that's it.
so if you can work out those details on Monday, be available to each other
Right.
Yeah.
for whatever you need. And,
You mean shift the meeting? You mean
No.
not the meeting date?
no,
No,
but just to be able
for
to take care,
details.
for details, really focus on getting your ducks in a row and your T's and I's and all that stuff on Monday. And then if there's anything left to be addressed on Tuesday, you've got it, just, you have a window to take care of any other details. But your goal is to really have, what you're gonna do. You may have to do paperwork on Tuesday, but you know what
Right.
your end result
Yeah.
is.
I'll send it out immediately, and as soon as,
Okay. Could I request a executive session and personnel to talk about something aside from this, that's to do with it, but part of a meeting that we had before?
you can,
Could I request that?
yes, do you wanna do that right now?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Wait, you got everything else taken care of?
I think that pretty much concludes all our other business, everyone. I guess we won't officially close the meeting until we're done with executive session, but,
So I have one other question about
Yes.
Tuesday, if the office is closed, how will you adjust putting on agenda for Tuesday meeting?
Yeah, I'm not sure
Uh,
what to do about that, because if you guys don't want me in here, then I don't know what to do.
well,
And
it's,
I'm not saying that
all
not
right,
to not,
I
I'm
mean,
saying you would be available
maybe
Tuesday
we should specify close to public
transaction.
traffic. Yeah, yeah, close for transactions.
And that you would be available,
But I can't, we can close and I can prepare the agenda. But I'm at a standstill with a lot on that day because I don't know what's going on.
Right,
but you will by Tuesday.
understandable, yes.
So if you say, I'm available to do what I have to do
Yeah.
on Tuesday to get this,
Yeah.
and do an agenda, that would give them a knowledge base that you'll be here to
Gotcha.
do anything left. But all the nuts and bolts stuff will be done before that.
Okay.
Okay, so just so, that then there will be an agenda, so everybody, and it'll be posted so that people know.
Could we
Yeah.
invite Mary Ann into this session
Sure, yep,
if you'd like to?
If you want me to, that's fine.
all right,
Make a motion to go into executive session at 6:20.
Alright, I second.
That one,
This would be,
MRS, what is it,
406A.
406A, 3.
yeah, 463A. Yeah. Okay. We have a motion to come out of executive session.
Motion to come out of executive session at 7:37.
All in favor? Alright, this select board meeting be adjourned.
At 7:37, I seconded.
Meeting adjourned.